Hey there, Zealots. This is Joshua. How you doing? So let me just make sure everything's rocking and rolling with the chat. So if you guys are not familiar with this format, the whole point of this is so that people can come in and ask me whatever they want about Bible, religion, spirituality, no matter what it is. You can jump in at any time, interrupt whatever I'm saying, because what you want to talk about is far more important than what I want to talk about. So I'm just trying to. The whole reason I'm doing this is the only reason I do this is so that your questions can be answered. So, live chat. Oh, it's visible. So anyway, if you feel free to have a question, if you have a question, feel free to leave it on the comment section. I'll do my best to answer it. Until then, I'm just going to talk about what I want to talk about. And today I was going to talk about what is biblical marriage. And the thing is that most people don't really have a true understanding of what a true biblical marriage is like. Let me get a little bit more lighting in here. It's a lot brighter now. Okay. There we go. So what is a true biblical marriage? A lot of people say you have to be married before you have sex. That's a common thing, specifically in the church. You have to be married before you have sex. If you're going to get married, if you want to have sex, you have to be married first. From a strictly biblical, from a strictly biblical perspective, that is adamantly false. And it's kind of hard to. It is very much false. Paul even says, if I have sex with the whore, and if a man have sex with a harlot, those two shall be one flesh. So to have sex with a prostitute makes you married to her. What that means is that if you have sex with it says in Mathew, where it talks about Jesus talking about divorce. You can divorce. You cannot divorce your wife save for the cause of fornication. A man cannot divorce his wife save for the cause of fornication. Save for the cause of fornication. That means that a man can only divorce his wife if she sleeps with another man. And the reason is because if she sleeps with a man, she's now married to that man. And she, according to scripture, is supposed to be married to one man for her entire life. If a woman sleeps with a new man, she is now in sin. So it's important for her to stay married to the same man. Now, when it comes to, so that is the biggest misnomer in scripture concerning what is sex or what is marriage. Marriage is actually twofold. And from God's perspective, if you're going to engage in sex, you must have the mindset of marriage. In fact, there are two different sins regarded to sex and marriage. One is called adultery. And adultery is when you find a woman that is married or has had sex with another man other than you, and you sleep with her. If you have sex with a woman that is not your wife, if you have sex with a woman that is having sex with somebody else, then you have committed what is known as fornication. Or no, sorry, you've committed adultery. Sorry. If you sleep with another woman that is not your wife, but is somebody else's wife, if you sleep with a woman that is somebody else's wife, you have committed what is known as adultery. And she commits adultery. It works both ways, but it's strictly defined as a man sleeping with another man's wife. Now, if you're the wife that slept with another man, or you're the man sleeping with another man's wife, they're both considered adulterers, but that is the strict definition. So the other sin is fornication. And what fornication is if you have sex with somebody without any kind of concept of commitment. If you have sex with somebody and you do not wish to, and you're not planning to spend the rest of your life with that person, that is fornication. You are just trying to have sex with whoever will be willing to spread their legs for you. And that is also a sin. A woman is not supposed to leave her husband, cannot leave her husband. And a husband cannot divorce the wife, but only for one reason. And so the woman is never supposed to leave the husband, and the husband can leave the wife for one reason and one reason only, and that is if she commits fornication. I would not allow a woman to leave. Or it says, man cannot divorce his wife save for the cause of fornication. And that means that she slept with another man, and without any kind of concern for her lifelong longevity of her relationships. So, so adultery and fornication, because basically fornication and adultery kind of go hand in hand, but they're specifically talking about two different aspects of the same sin. So what true marriage, biblical marriage from the Bible's perspective is when a man has sex with a woman, they are to be committed to each other for the rest of their lives. There should be no question about that. Now, if you are in a committed long-term relationship with if you're a man, you're committed to a woman, and vice versa, there needs to be the mentality, and comes part and parcel to being married. If you are not having babies, you are committing a sin. Now, this actually doesn't have a specific name associated with it, because back then women really didn't have an option not to get pregnant. They were like, "Oh, I'm having sex, I'm going to get pregnant." That was just what was going to happen. They knew it. They didn't try and avoid it or balk at it. But there was this there was a similar sin where they would throw their children on the fires of Anak, or cast their children onto the fires of Anak. And basically what it was is that there was this, not Anak, Molech, fires of Molech. And what they would do is they would wait for the baby to be born, and then they would sacrifice it to a god by putting it on this brass statue that was superheated, and it would immolate the child alive. And that was their form of birth control. That was their form of abortion, which is horrifying. It's horrifying. But it's, that's how they did it. Well, now we have birth control and all these things, and we don't have, because back then you can easily make the case for murder, but it's still murder. I mean, if it's its own child, if it's its own DNA, it's definitely its own person. And regardless if it's dependent on you to survive, then I mean, how is that different than a 2-year-old or an infant? It needs you to survive. Anyway, I digress. The point is that these are all aspects of what a real marriage is. A real marriage is long-term commitment with one man, and to never avoid pregnancy. You want to maintain that you're going to have as many babies as is humanly possible. Now, beyond all that, a man needs to be in charge of his family. It talks about wives submitting to yourselves under your husbands in all things. So to submit, what does it mean to submit? Well, if your husband is in charge of you, you need to do what he tells you to do. However, if he tells you to do something that contradicts the word of God, you don't have to do it, because your boss's boss is telling you not to. So your husband is your boss, but God is your boss's boss. So you should do what your boss tells you to until it contradicts what your boss's boss says. So that's wives, have to be obedient to their husbands. And husbands are commanded to love the wife as they love themselves. That means they're not supposed to do evil to women. They were supposed to make sure that they love and cherish and take care of everyone that is under their authority. And to love them as they love themselves means that they would never do harm or cause them to fear or be abusive or say things that are hurtful or mean or scare them. Because these things are evil. We can't be going around trying to. You can't expect. Okay, so from a biblical perspective, a woman is married up until the point there's basically only two godly options to get out of. Or sorry, there are three options if you're married to get out of marriage. Okay, from a biblical perspective, there are three options to get out of marriage for a woman. There's only one for a man, but there's three for a woman. Well, I guess there's two for a man. Anyway, we'll just discuss them and we'll figure it out as we go. One is being a widow or a widower. Okay, so one of them dies, then you're free. You can remarry. Number two, if she's been abused, she can leave. If she, because the husband is supposed to provide food, babies, and shelter. So food, babies, and shelter. If a man is not providing these things for her, he is transgressed. If he is causing her to fear him. So it says that if the unbeliever departs, let him depart, for there is no sin, because you are no longer under bondage. So if you're married to an unbeliever and they leave you for a righteous purpose or a righteous cause, you're set free from the bondage of that marriage. And that works for either men or women, because it talks about both, actually. My wife was not very submissive, and I told her to do things that were biblical, and she got very angry with me, and she left. Actually, she told me to leave. She commanded me to leave, which is not a very submissive thing to do, but I'm not here to force her to submit, because nowhere does it say for husbands to force them to submit. In fact, the commandment is for women to submit. So the commandment is for women to implement, not for men to enforce. It's a commandment for women to implement, not men to enforce. Then after that, there is what is known as, so we talked about widowing. We talked about abandonment. I think that's the only two ways that you can, maybe that's it. Maybe that is it. Marriage, wedding, widows and abandonment. Yeah, that's only it. That's the only way. So those are the only ways out of marriage. However, there is a change. There is a distinction between the genders, and God does enjoy a double standard. He does not see men and women as equal, so therefore his laws about men and women are not equal. A man can have as many wives as he can take care of, and a woman is only allowed to be married to one man. So what's interesting about this, I don't know if you've ever watched the show Big Love, but one of the biggest problems in the show is that they're always fighting over how many nights a week they get with their husband. And this always seemed wrong to me. They're doing it in an ungodly fashion. They think that separating them is more godly than everybody being together. But I'm going to tell you something. From a biblical perspective, it's probably better that they all sleep together, because then there's no jealousy. Because they all share the same space, they all share the same love. There's nobody that's excluded. There is no condemnation for polygamy in the Bible. And not only that, but there's no condemnation for lesbianism in the Bible, like anywhere. The only condemnation a woman has is that she has to be married. She needs to be married. She needs to have a husband. Your desire shall be to your husband, and he shall rule over thee. And nowhere in the Bible does it say you can't have sex with another woman. A woman can have sex with it, and it doesn't limit how many women you can have sex with. In fact, there's multiple people in the Bible that had multiple wives. Yeah. So the problem is in our society, it's everybody has these preconceived notions of what sex is supposed to be. And we have a big systemic problem with monogamy, just with feminism in general. Feminism in general has run rampant and is caused, and we have a divorce rate that skyrocketed. And if you look at it, the rise of feminism and the rise of divorce has like matched. They're like on the same plane, which is ironic, right? How did that happen? How did feminism and divorce end up following the same track? I listened to this one guy yesterday, and he gave me this awesome quote. And I asked him how long he'd been married, and he said, it was a long time. And it was like, what was the secret? What was the secret to your marriage? He says, I'm going to quote Paul McCartney, I think it was, or it was Paul McCartney's wife or whatever. He said, the secret to a long-lasting marriage is never getting divorced. I love that quote. That was a great quote because it basically said that you just can't give up. Marriage is a lifelong endeavor. And if you give up, it ends. It ends as soon as you give up. Or at least one of you gives up. So a man can have as many wives as he wants, as long as he does not exclude them. There should be a common area, a common sleeping area where women can come and go as they see fit. The wives can go as they see fit. They can all enjoy each other's company, or they can all be alone, or whatever. See, that's the thing. If you don't divide, it divides the time if you have separate nights. Oh, I have this night and this night with my husband, and you have this night and this night with your husband. And I'm like, no, everybody can come and go as they see fit. It should be a communal space for shared love for everyone. But that goes against that's countercultural. How dare you put that out there? It's not right. I'm not here to try and make friends. I'm not here to try and I'm here to share with you exactly what the Bible says. And there is no condemnation for polygamy, and there is no condemnation for lesbianism. The only condemnation is you cannot forsake the natural use of your body, and that's directed towards women. And the natural use of the body is the procreation of offspring. So if you're attracted to females, I would suggest getting into a polygamous relationship. So that way you can meet the needs of your husband, and he can give you babies, and you can be with women. I don't understand how hard this is. But that's it. That's all I had planned for today. I'm glad I'm here. This live stream, nobody's showing up for. And I don't mean to be a downer about it. And if there's nobody showing up, I'm not going to keep doing it. Maybe I'll just start doing videos again, or maybe not. I don't know. Due to lack of interest, So I don't know what I'm going to do about that. But if you want me to continue doing these, please let me know. The live streams, they just go on too long. I can't keep it. The whole point of the live stream was that people come on here, ask their questions, I answer their questions, and we take up the entire video with me answering questions that are being asked. But nobody's coming on and asking questions, so I don't see kind of the point of doing this. Yeah. So anyway, I don't know if I'm going to do this next week. if I have an idea, I'll do it. If not, I might just stop altogether, because just if I think I'll do it next week, and if I still get nobody to come showing up, then I think I'll just end it, because it's it's hard for me to kind of get all prepared for this and then nothing happened. It's just really disheartening. Uh, yeah. But anyway, feel free to leave a comment, post your question. I was really hoping that this would catch on. I was really excited about it. Maybe I won't end it. I don't know. I don't know. Whatever. Anyway, so I will come back next Saturday, 10 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. And your questions, come with your questions, because if you come with your questions, I will answer them live on stream. And I don't care how dumb your question is. There's no such thing as a dumb question as long as it's a heartfelt question. If you are really seeking to understand something, there's no such thing as a dumb question. Yeah, but I'm here to answer your questions about anything. And yeah, so leave a comment, post, share, subscribe, click the dingy thingy so you're alerted whenever I post something online. And I will talk to you later. You guys have a great day. You know I love God because I love virtue, justice, and salvation. Take it easy.